Joining us now is Nathaniel Raymond of the Yale Humanitarian Research Lab, which tracks Russian war crimes against Ukrainian children. Hi, Nathaniel. Nice to see you. So I want to just start with these Ukrainian children who are in Russia. When Ukraine's president and other leaders met in D.C. last month, Trump posted on social media that he discussed the massive worldwide problem of missing children with the European Commission president, calling it, quote, a subject at the top of all lists that the world will work together to solve. Does that give you hope?
Well, it's better than them not talking about it, but the scale of the problem, Pamela, needs to be understood. At least we estimate at Yale Humanitarian Research Lab, at least 35,000 children from Ukraine have been abducted by Russia's forces since the start of the full-scale invasion. And we believe they're spread out, in many cases, in re-education camps over 3,500 miles from the Black Sea to the Eastern Pacific. So while I appreciate the president's words, we have the single largest kidnapping event since World War II on our hands.
Tell us more about these re-education camps and sort of what these children are going through. They were taken from their families in Ukraine and are now in Russia.
Some were taken from their families, some were taken from institutional homes inside Ukraine, and others were taken directly off the battlefield in places like Mariupol when their parents, in many cases, were killed by artillery strikes. For these kids, when they go to the re-education camps, for those that aren't directly sent into adoption and fostering, in the camps, the experience differs by age group. For younger kids, there's one camp called Camp Teddy Bear, where they learn to only speak Russian and to sing patriotic songs such as the Russian national anthem. But it's a darker story for older children, particularly boys between the ages of 13 and 17, who are often sent to compulsory military training, including in some cases paratrooper school, shooting ranges, and military vehicle operation training.
Wow. Well, as you know, before that larger summit in Washington, we talked about President Trump met with Vladimir Putin in Alaska and hand-delivered a note. This was from First Lady Melania Trump calling on Russia to protect the innocence of children. How do you view the First Lady's influence on this matter?
It's the single most important step taken by the Trump administration on the issue of Ukraine's abducted children since uh, our team's funding was cut and we were eventually reinstated by the Secretary of State for a temporary contract. Since that point, the First Lady's move is the most important substantive act by the Trump administration. And I really want to point out something here. It's been the First Lady and actually evangelical Christians who have really been pushing the Republican Party to make this a core issue, as we've seen both in the House and Senate Republicans supporting the return of the children unanimously in many cases.
Do you believe a message like that from the First Lady could have an impact on Putin?
It doesn't hurt, but at the end of the day, Putin only understands one thing, which is consequences. And at this point, the United States has backed off in the Trump administration from all the consequences that were put in place by the previous administration, whether we're talking sanctions, monitoring, accountability programming. The Trump administration, as we saw, we were told to stand down and then we were defunded. And so basically, a letter is great, but consequences with actual strength behind them matter more.
What are the challenges your organization is facing right now, given the funding cuts?
How much time do you have, Pamela? It's from per, personnel to cybersecurity to data acquisition. Losing US government support, being now outside the State Department, cost us more than just money. It cost us critical technical support from multiple government agencies, which was required for our team to operate safely inside Russian cyberspace. And so, what you have to understand here is that this is not charity work. This is professional evidence gathering against a hostile government about children who have been kidnapped. And so we had to access, and we continue to access, Russian national adoption databases. You have to understand Russian security services are not sitting idly by while we do that. And so being at low power right now means our work got a lot harder.
Sorry to hear that, Nathaniel Raymond. Thank you so much. Your work is very important. We really appreciate you coming on to shine a spotlight
Thank
on
you for
it.
having me.